you so much for joining me on my program once again. I appreciate you wherever you're joining me from. I say good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Accept my greeting according to your time zone. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please kindly subscribe to my channel. Click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a video. You can be among the first to receive it. Then go to the comment section at all time. Leave your comment, drop your contribution. If you have suggestions, make it out there. If you have any criticism, put it down on the comment section. It will make us to get better, presenting you a better program.
Former Rivers State Governor and immediate past Minister of Transportation, Amechi, on Tuesday, accused Rivers State Governor Wike of mismanaging state funds on alcohol. The former governor made the comment while speaking during his campaign for the All Progressives Congress governorship candidate in Rivers State, Tonya Cole. Amechi said the amount of state funds that Wike spends on alcohol in 2 weeks was equivalent. Campaigning, Dr. But before I come to you, I'll take another story. Former Rivers State Governor and immediate past Minister of Transportation, Amechi, on Tuesday, accused Rivers State Governor Wike of mismanaging state funds on alcohol. The former governor made the comment while speaking during his campaign for the All Progressives Congress governorship candidate in Rivers State, Tonya Cole. Amechi said the amount of state funds that Wike spends on alcohol in 2 weeks was equivalent to the amount he spent to build one primary school when he served as governor, adding that the person Wike buys alcohol from said Wike spends 50 million naira every week on alcohol. While Amechi also took the opportunity during the campaign to deny reports that he promised to return to the Igbos their property abandoned during the Civil War if the governorship candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Tonya Cole, was elected on Saturday. I mean, it was good that Amechi clarified that rumor that was circulating, I believe, 2 days ago. But I mean, this story is coming right at the back of Governor Wike talking about watching the PDP during their protest in Abuja and drinking a 40-year-old whiskey. Dr. Batsi.
Okay, let's start with the clarifications. What Mr. Amechi was saying is that he said if he had been the governor, immediately after the Civil War, this is what he would have done. And that he has been misrepresented. It amounts to fake news. To quote him entirely out of context. However, it is interesting that he went to campaign for the gubernatorial candidate of the APC in Doni local government area. That's Tonya Cole, who is a candidate of the APC. Amechi, at some point during the campaign, people had said, oh, he was missing in action, because nobody saw him campaigning openly for the presidential candidate of the party, now president-elect. Maybe he was cited once in Adamawa or maybe in another place. But it's good to see him, in the local election, coming out frontally to support the candidate of his party. But what has made the headlines is Amechi saying that Governor Wike spends on the average 50 million on alcohol every week, and that he had the information directly from the man that supplies the bottles. Well, the question to ask is it River State money that is used to buy the alcohol? Because according to him, it costs, in his time, he spent 112 million to build a whole classroom block. So, but that in 2 weeks, that is what Governor Wike uses to consume alcohol. Well, on the face of it, that's defamatory. But I know that Governor Wike, at the appropriate time, will respond to these allegations. Because if it is state government money that is used to submit, to purchase alcohol on a weekly basis like that, okay, is there a plan to set up a brewery in government house in Port Harcourt? Because, and he himself, I think, caused this attack by the PDP at the center, by Frank Shoaibu, and now by former Governor Amechi. He was the one that used his own mouth to say that by 11:30 a.m., on the day PDP went to protest at INEC headquarters, he opened a 40-year-old bottle of whiskey. A 40-year-old bottle of whiskey would be about 5 million naira.
Absolutely.
That's very expensive taste. And if it is a Louis XIV, there's a cognac that is called a Louis XIV. Louis XIV is 4 million naira. And there is another drink called Louis XIII, Louis XIII. Louis XIII is about 3 million naira. So if anybody in government position is drinking over 4 million naira 40-year-old whiskey that was made when he was still a secondary school student. No, that's why people are making big capital out of it. But I'm sure that Governor Wike will defend himself. He will say as they sweet us, he go dey pain them. And he will tell them, enough is enough. So, but he's capable of responding to his critics.
Rufai, quickly on...
I never knew Dr. Bati was a connoisseur.
No, but I love his research. He's fantastic.
On whiskey,
I'm sure you went to
on
do
whiskey,
that research.
no, maybe probably he's drunk some of them.
Dr. Bati. You know...
It's quite shocking. Oji, I cringe in fear for the future of this country. Oji, people are talking about Chat GPT in other parts of the world. They are talking about artificial intelligence. Our leaders are talking about how they are drinking 40-year-old whiskey.
Unbelievable.
And there are children that are out of school. In a country where we have over 20 million children out of school, we have over 20 trillion. Debts, securitization, we had a guest to come talk about it this morning. There is pain in the land. Rivers State has one of the highest numbers of unemployment. Unemployment and youth restiveness. Rivers State had an environmental problem with suits. There are problems on ground, but you see, we are so deluded that all we talk about is alcohol and people spending 15 million naira on alcohol.
In 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks. Allegedly, anyway.
That's what he says.
I think for the sake of investigation, we would like to know this supplier that Mr. Amechi talked to, that supplies the governor this. We would like to also ask him questions.
Couldn't that be a breach of
privacy?
Of confidence?
No, but if he can tell his major political opponents that it was XYZ amount that is being spent on alcohol, why can he not tell the world? So if you say that's a breach, we would like to know the people that. So if you say that's a breach, we would like to know the people that supply, so we can ask questions. Also, is it the state revenue he's using?
That's the most important.
If it's not the state revenue, he can go straight ahead.
That's the most important question.
But we should look at that vis-a-vis the future of our country, and this is what makes people laugh at us. Look at the conversations we are having in the public space when the country is on its knees. You see, the future of this country is pregnant, and time will tell.
All right.
Ojinika, just before we take the next story, I just stumbled on this about the Lagos State governor being endorsed by 9 others. Now, this is a tweet by the presidential candidate of the Social Democratic Party, Adewale Adebayo, Esquire, his Twitter account at Press Adebayo. He says it is important to inform the public that the SDP Nigeria has the best governorship candidate and manifesto in Lagos. On 18 March 2023, vote Taufik Olakunle Uthman. It is unfair and dishonest of official APCNG to spread fake news of alliance with Jide Sanwo-Olu. Well, I mean, you know, we had a similar situation also in Kaduna State when we were told 9 parties had endorsed Isa Ashiru, the PDP gubernatorial candidate in that state. And in Oyo State, however, although Adewale Adebayo denies that of Lagos, the SDP gubernatorial candidate in Oyo State, Michael Ano, you know, has endorsed Governor Seyi Makinde, and we have not had the SDP denying that. But it's all for the optics. 3 days to the election, people endorsing and endorsing just to influence the voter. Our own is that may the best man win. May the best person who will serve the interests of the people. We, the long-suffering people of Nigeria, whoever will serve our interests should win.
Absolutely. Thank you for clarifying that tweet as well.
The lawmakers expressed displeasure with the Registrar of the National Board for Arabic and Islamic Studies, Mohammed Abdullahi, over non-remittance of over 300 million naira revenue generated to the Consolidated Revenue Fund.
We were able to pay 30 million naira out of this 410. To conduct an exams in a year, they are saying they have spent 380 something million, and we are here to collect another budget from the federal government. I haven't contributed just 35 million, and if they ask for their budget there, they'll be telling me in the region of 10 to 20 billion naira. 5,963 members of staff arranging for one examination in a year and being paid 8.5 billion and now generating only 410, out of which you remit only 35 billion. There is a need to look deeper into what this is about.
The committee resolved to set up an ad hoc committee to investigate activities of the institution.
We believe that INEC has to prove itself. It has to prove the results it announced were true and were real. There are 176,600 polling stations. That's a lot of polling stations. INEC's rules required each polling station to collect the votes, count the votes, and they do it the old-fashioned way. They get the paper votes, they count them. They put them in stacks for each of the primary candidates. They were to gather those results, publish the local results, and then transmit the results, and ultimately they would go to Abuja and be certified. Well, what happened was they published some of the results early on, and then they took them down. And so what they have is something that looks a little bit like this, scribbling, when it used to look like this, where it was written. Someone didn't like the results. That's what appears to have happened. Dr. Ogebe observed it happening. So what we have is vote rigging, vote buying, and bribery. So despite INEC's efforts, nothing good happened. And we're back to the same old thing, the same old efforts. So what do we do? What do we do in the United States? What do we do as members of the diaspora? What do we do as international attorneys or international law folks? What do we do to ensure democracy can thrive? That the promise of 1960